Good morning. Good morning. It's Friday morning. Yay. Let me go into the girls' guide and go live. Hi, Kate. All right, let me set up my phone. Hi, Judy. Uh-oh, shoot. I picked the wrong. Okay. Goodness gracious. I just got ready in 10 minutes, if you can believe that. All right, let's see. Anyway, I never know how to set this thing up. How are you? It's Friday morning, and that's a good thing. Well, for agents, it's not like we have off, right? But it's still good to have the weekend coming. I always like having the weekend coming. All right. Hi, Tracy. So today I'm getting very vulnerable with me. Hi, Lauren. With sharing my personal story. And it's not so much that I want to share my personal story. What it is I want to help those of you who may be experiencing what I once was. And to a lesser degree that I still do, because my desire is that no woman should, from the bottom of my heart, my desire is no woman would be depressed, no woman would be anxious for anything, and that every woman would know their value and feel loved and worthy. So if that is my life, if you were to say, what are you alive for? Of course, I'm alive to help my family, but that is really very important to me, what I just mentioned, that I don't want anybody to feel less than or left out. It's just really on my heart. So as I talk with women, and I'm looking at two different cameras, so I'm sorry if I'm not looking right at you. I'm going live in two different places. But every week I talk to, many agents on strategy calls. And if you want a strategy session with me, then just let me know. Please, let me know. But in fact, before I get started, go ahead and say hello, no matter where you are. Please tell me good morning. Tell me where you're calling from. Tell me what the weather's like, how the market is. Tell me something. And if you're watching this on a replay, please write replay or tell me where you are. Because it's very important to me that I feel connected to you. Because what I do is very personal to me, and it's not for pageantry, as you'll hear in what I'm going to share with you today. I hate pageantry. I don't do things just to check off a box, and I don't do things to make myself look good. Absolutely not. As is witnessed, because it took me, no kidding, 10 minutes to get ready today. And truth be told, I'm in my pajama bottoms, okay? So if I could pick up my leg, I'd show you, but I'm trying to pick up my leg, but it's not going up. It's not going up high enough. But I am in my pajama bottoms. But for you, I put my makeup on and my nice shirt here. Okay. All right. So some of you, thank you for saying good morning. Suzette says snowy, but city kids are going to school. Yay. Yeah, I know. My sister Judy said they got a surprise snow. Well, happy in Richmond that we don't have snow right now. But anyway, so what I'm going to share with you today is Spokane, Washington. Wow, Vonda. And Kate is in Michigan, all these cold places. Minnesota. Oh, I like that. Thank you, Debbie. Minnesota. You guys are awesome. Please, please keep it coming. I love it. This is the thing. What I do with you is very personal. You see me as I am, pajama bottoms and all, okay? And we're just friends. So Amy says, good morning from New York, light snow. Darlene says, good morning, Mary. Thank you, ladies. Okay. So before I get started, who saw Tracy Tudor all over the internet yesterday, as well as on certain, like AOL network? She was on CNN. It was picked up on different other stations and channels and social media. It was all over the place, that she was telling women, telling everybody, whoever was watching, how she's excited to be a participant and a guest speaker at the She's Unstoppable Live conference that's coming up on April 9 and 10. So it's unbelievable. And Dottie Herman invited Judy and I to dinner with them. And I'm like, so over the moon. And think about that. Just think about that for a minute. How did we get Forbes named richest self-made woman in America to be our keynote? We took a chance in spite of fear. How did we get Tracy Tudor there? And Monday, another lady from Housewives of Beverly Hills reached out to me on Facebook and said, can I come and speak? And I'm like, well, we don't have any speaking, but I'd love to have you there. So it's pretty cool, ladies. It's pretty cool. This is more than just a conference, run-of-the-mill real estate conference. No, this is a movement for women in real estate, and you want to be there because all the media is going to be there. But let's get back to topic. I'm going to share with you a little bit about my story and then how I got to be where I am. And the reason I'm sharing this is to hopefully inspire you, because I sincerely do not want any woman to feel less than, to feel depressed, to feel anxious. I want you to feel loved and enough, more than enough, because you are, okay? So when I think about myself as a kid, I was very fearless. I was a tomboy, chubby, baby of 6 kids. I thought it was fun being the baby of 6 kids, and I was raised by Pennsylvania Dutch parents who were older, and so they were kind of tired by the time Judy and I came around, so we pretty much did whatever we wanted to do. Not that we were spoiled with material things, because we were not. We didn't have the means for that, but we were, let loose, I guess, to raise ourselves, kind of. Okay, so there were some things that happened to my older brothers and sisters that bad choices that they made, and my parents' reaction to that was what I saw, and I didn't like it. But parents that are Pennsylvania Dutch and really older people, because I know my mother-in-law is still like this. She's very, you keep stuff quiet. You keep it quiet. That's just for the family. You don't share it. And even within the family, my mother-in-law, says, don't tell such and such. Don't tell such and such, whatever. Don't tell somebody about this or that. And you'll learn how I feel about that. You can probably already tell. All right, so when I was 26, I had a baby. And baby daddy, we were married for 6 months because he was an alcoholic. I kind of knew he was an alcoholic, but I didn't care because I didn't, I was raised Pennsylvania Dutch, and you don't have a kid out of wedlock, and so I had to get married, kind of how it was. And I remember walking down the aisle, turning around to my maid of honor, my best friend, saying, and all the people in my party saying, I give it 5 months, like I knew I was going to get divorced. Isn't that horrible? But it was true. But when I finally made the decision, when our baby was 6 months old, Emily, I thought, oh my gosh, if I die, he would get her and he would raise her horribly. And so that's where worry started. My journey on anxiety and worry was non-existent until I had my kid and got divorced. And I thought, oh, whoa, if something happens to me, he gets her, okay? So I was in corporate, and I traveled some on airplanes. And back in the old days, I was in telecom. Money was flowing in. And I led the life of almost like a star, because they would pick me up. They would send a car to pick me up at my house and, chauffeur me to the airport. And I had great seats, and I had pretty much whatever I wanted, nice room, everything else. And here I am at the age of 27, 28, 29, living this life. And my parents would say to me, boy, I hope you come back. What I wanted them to say was, wow, Jan, how did you get this? I'm so proud of you. But instead I got, I hope you come back. Like, whoa. That's probably why I was afraid, because they'd say, well, if you die, such and such gets Emily, and blah, blah, blah. So then I bought a BMW. And yes, I was over my means as a single mom, but back in the day, I don't know, my generation, especially if you were in sales, that lifestyle, you had to have a nice car. And I remember pulling up to my parents' house, and I was probably 28, and I said, hey, you want to see my new car? And normally they would rush out. But when I told them it was a BMW, my mom said, who the hell do you think you are? It was my mother. Who the hell do you think you are? And I ignored her. And of course, my dad goes outside. He's being nice. Both of my parents are deceased now. You might think my mom sounds mean from that comment. And I don't want you to think that. Not that I want to protect her, because listen, as you'll hear as I finish, as I continue, I don't fault anybody for anything they do. Okay. I mean, because we all are in different places in our lives. And so, her reaction at the time hurt me, but as I reflect on it, it doesn't, because of what the choices she made and the things that she went through. She had a very horrible, horrible upbringing. So there was a reason that she reacted that way, right? So let's continue. So I was thinking, at the time, I didn't think about this. These things just happened, and then you're like trying to deal with it, and you're so busy that you don't deal with it. You don't think about it. You don't talk about it. You're just like, that hurt my feelings. Moving on. That hurt my feelings. Moving on. That was strange. Moving on. Okay. Anyway, so I didn't think much about it. I ended up getting a promotion and having to move to Trenton, New Jersey, Pennington, New Jersey. Anybody out there from Princeton, Trenton, Pennington, New Jersey area? Loved it. But I had to drive to Bedminster, New Jersey, which was about an hour and a half drive each way with traffic. And that was the start of my downfall, with that bad traffic. See if this sounds like you. I was feeling guilt when I wasn't with my child as a single mom, because I should be with her as a single mom, this poor little girl, right? And then when I was with her, I was thinking, oh my gosh, I had this big job and I need to be working. So in essence, wherever I was, it was never good enough, because I was always like, oh my gosh, I was in a perpetual state of guilt. So what happened was the drive started sucking, and I started getting dizzy spells, and I started feeling like I couldn't catch my breath. And the next thing I noticed, I was like a ball of nerves at all times. I got really skinny. I was afraid I would choke, so I didn't eat. I mean, I would eat as much as I could. And back then, there were no shakes, ladies, so there wasn't like I could convert over to a shake. I ate very little, and I entered into what I call my time of hell. My time of hell at the age of 29. Panic attacks. Bad, debilitating panic attacks, where even though I was afraid to get in my car and drive, I knew I had to get to work. So I would go to work by the grace of God. And when I got there, I was like, oh, thank God. And then when I was there, I remember being in my cubby, I was a product manager. I got promoted to corporate, being groomed to be an area VP. And I remember sitting there thinking, I'm getting really skinny, and how am I going to survive? You get to that point. So I went to counseling, meditation lady. My older sister sent me, Bible verses, and I ultimately found, my faith back in Jesus. And it helped. It helped. It didn't make it all go away. No. It didn't make it all go away, but it helped. Let's see what I want to say about that. And I kind of got through it, but the times of hell were pure hell. And if you suffer from anxiety, you know what I'm talking about. You can't think of anything else. You obsess on God knows what. You feel like you're outside of yourself, and you're like looking at your life. It's horrible. I don't wish it on anyone, which is why I decided to have this talk with you. But I want to share with you what I learned through all of that, because I want to give you hope. I want to give you hope. that you can get out of it if you're in the middle of it now, okay? Because I'm out of it for the most part, and I'll share that. So outward appearances to me mean nothing, and I mean nothing. What I learned was that so many people, I didn't know how many people had anxiety, first of all. I mean, we're talking back in 1994, 1995. Nobody talked about things like this. We didn't have social media. You were alone, essentially, okay? So outward appearances were like anybody that would have seen me. They thought, oh, you went on a diet. You look great. Look at you moving up in the world with your BMW. Look at you, single mom. Go, lady, right? Well, there's a reason I felt this way experiencing panic attacks. And it was because my life was so out of balance that it correlated back to why I was feeling so panicked, right? It's the way I was raised. It's the decisions that I made. I made a lot of poor decisions, but why did I make those poor decisions? Did I make those poor decisions because of the way I was raised? And why was I raised the way I was raised? Because I am not a blamer of my parents at all, okay? Now, Lisa says, I have it too, and it came out at 29, okay? That's the age it came out for me, at 29. My counselor told me that if you have a tumultuous upbringing and or make a lot of bad decisions and or have a family member die early and all these different stressors, that you can deal with it till you're about 29. Then it will come to the surface and you have to deal with it. And so your body can't take it anymore. And so that's what brings out the anxiety, okay? So I began to slow down and see things as they really were, as opposed to the way I wanted them. My generation, I'm 53. My generation was, Wilma and Fred Flintstone's wife, or that was Wilma, and Betty would say, charge it. Boy, we wanted a lot. We got a lot. I was in credit card debt and I didn't care. I thought, right? Because that's what we were taught growing up. Go get credit cards, go do what you got to do. And I know this because a lot of ladies my age, we talk about this sometimes and they're like, oh my gosh, I was so in credit card debt. It was insane. It started with that credit card we got when we went to college. Insane, right? So, but anyway, what I started to do was I started living my life in alignment with what I thought was important, because I worked in corporate and they made me go to a training facilitated in person by Brian Tracy. Now, Brian Tracy's older now. I thought he was really handsome, a handsome older guy back then. But he was there and he said, you can be, have, or do anything you want in this life. And I'm like, oh yeah, right. But I believe it now, I really do. And he said that you need to, if things aren't working out, it's because of you're not living your authentic self. And we hear that all the time now, right? But back then that was kind of a new concept. And my dog's little feet are the noise that you hear in the background. I forgot to put him away right now, which I usually do when I go live. So sorry about that. But he's a little cutie. So I had a breakdown when I was in that training with Brian Tracy, because when he asked us to do an exercise, which I now do with all my clients. And that's where we start, because it all starts here, ladies, okay? And it just made a huge difference in my life, because it made me realize that what I said was important and what I actually did with my life were totally out of whack. An example of that is I love my daughter dearly. I did, and I still do, of course. But I spent about an hour a day with her. Not good, right? So I was chasing something. Ladies, are you chasing something? And because of my personality, I gave everything my all. So I was chasing this. I wanted to be area VP by the time I was 30, and I was chasing this, and I was doing well. And to the outside world, I looked really, really good, which is why I hate outward appearances, because they mean nothing. I was obsessed with success, and it was costing me my life and my peace. Okay, so I had to come to a realization. that my life was out of balance. Number 3, don't keep things inside. Let me back up. Number 1 is outward appearances mean absolutely nothing, is what I learned. I could see the most beautiful woman posting on Instagram or on Facebook who looks happy as hell, but that doesn't mean anything to me. I'm not jealous of that. I hope that it's true, but it just means nothing to me. Number 2 is there's a reason that we feel panic, and you have to think about how you're living your life. And are you living in alignment with what you say? Okay? And Jacqueline Jones says that she's learning this too. Thank you for sharing, Jacqueline. Number 3 is don't keep things inside. God gave us a mouth. God gave us a mouth. And when crappy stuff happens to you, or when you hear about crappy things, or anything, you have a certain feeling, you need to get it out, especially as women. And that's why my heart is so for women. We have to get it out. And I don't mean in an ugly way, because I am against drama. Hate it. Don't want anything to do with it. Don't bring me drama, because I will back you up in about 2 seconds, because I don't want to hear it. And I say that with love in my heart. I'm not getting involved with it. God gave you a mouth to talk about it. And you don't gossip. You share your feelings. We're not talking about other people. Okay. Number 4, to be truly who you are, you need to be who you are. I mean, you need to be who you are. And Darlene says, amen, no drama. What do I mean by being authentically me? The old days of keeping hush hush. And I don't mean to pick on my mother-in-law. She's never on social media, nor is my sister-in-law. And my husband couldn't care less. So I know they're not going to hear this. And if they did, I wish she did hear it. And I try to talk to her this way. She's all about the way appearances look. She could be having the biggest anxiety attack, which she does. This is where I learned a lot of this, because she followed us to Richmond, so I'm always with her. And yet, in front of someone, she'll suddenly act like nothing is wrong. And then when they walk away, I say, Mom, you saw that you were fine, right? You saw that. I don't understand. You say you're panicked, but you suddenly went from panic to nothing in front of this person, like if we're out to eat. I don't get it. When you aren't who you are, when you aren't authentically you, you feel like a fake. And that causes anxiety, because that's not how we're supposed to be. Life is short. Be who you are. Be who you want to be, for goodness sakes. I don't care if your mom said, like my mom did, and said, who the hell do you think you are driving that BMW? Thinking that you can own a BMW. That wasn't her against me. Okay? What it was her feeling inferior, and she couldn't imagine her having that, so she couldn't imagine me having it, because I was her daughter. Do you see that? It's so freeing when you receive nothing in an ugly way. Because the bottom line, ladies, is this. I don't care if it's a client, your husband, your mother-in-law, your own mother. When somebody hurts your feelings, it's probably because of their fear and their anxiety, not because of you. It has nothing to do with you. Whoever was mean to you, take you out and insert George. They're going to do the same thing. So it has nothing to do with you. So after being authentic, number 5 is it has nothing to do with you. It has not one damn thing to do with you. Stop receiving it. Women are so I don't know, I want to say gentle, but I don't really see myself as gentle on the outside, but yet I am on the inside. We're so feeling hearted, I guess. We'll say that. We're so feeling hearted that we take it all personally. Nothing's personal. Okay, because why? Because everybody is coming to a situation from their vantage point, from all the baggage and from all the stuff that happened to them in their lives. You just happen to be in front of them at that moment, saying whatever you're saying, which might piss them off, which might make them feel like inferior to you, so they feel like they have to react to you. See what I'm saying, ladies? It's a vicious cycle, and when you realize these things that I'm telling you, you're like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Did you ever have a fight with your significant other? And you're in the heat of it. You are pissed and you're in the middle of it, right? And guess what? The next day you're like, oh, now I have to say I'm sorry. Why did I do that? It was because we lived our lives based on our feelings, which our feelings come from the crap we haven't dealt with, right? And Jules says it's definitely a vicious cycle for sure. So number 6, take action in spite of fear, okay? Because fear is the opposite of love. So why is it, did you ever think about this, ladies? Why is it that when you see a little 1 or 2-year-old little girl, which I have almost a 1-year-old little granddaughter and almost a 2.5-year-old granddaughter, they're fearless. Nobody's told them that they can't do something yet. And they're fearless and positive. Oh my gosh, they're so, I don't know what I might cry. They're so positive. And the reason they're positive is because they haven't been poisoned yet. Okay? So we have to stop poisoning others from our pain. We have to deal with our pain so that we don't poison other people. Because that's why I'm saying you have to be who you are and deal with and talk about what happened to you and the decisions you made so that you can work past it, so that you can get back the fearlessness that you have. I am fearless, meaning I know I'm going to die someday, and I don't have no fears. I don't walk around with no fears, right? But I'm going to go for what I want because life is short. And I'm not going to let, why is that one arm not showing? Anyway, I'm not going to let the crap of life hold me back anymore. No. And I hope that that really sinks in, that you have to take action in spite of fear. Think about this. If you're in a cold climate like I am, I woke up, it was like 32 degrees, okay? Not in my house, but I mean outside. And did you really want to climb out of bed today? I mean, did you really want to? Did you really want to crawl out of bed today? I mean, my bed is freaking comfy. I bought a nice mattress. It is comfy as heck. And I never want to crawl out of it. In the summer, boom, I'm out of bed. In the winter, but why? Why do we get out of bed? We had to take our kid, make sure our kid gets to school, or we have an appointment that we had to go to, or, we know that we have to, We did it for different reasons, or routine, whatever. Fear is the opposite of love. And so we created our company, this Libby Girl Success Boutique. We created the She's Unstoppable Live Conference, if you see the banner back here. Everything that I do is out of my heart for you, which is probably why God gave me the mom he gave me. Because through that, I was able to see that there was no reason for her to feel less than on the outside, even though she went through a lot of trauma, sexual assault, and such as a child, okay, when nobody protected her. And then as a 11th grader, she and her brothers were playing basketball, and one of her brothers threw the basketball and it hit her tooth, and her front tooth came out, and her dad said, go to school without that tooth. We don't have money for that. I'm not sure if we don't have money or it doesn't really matter. Oh, and when she was like 13, she heard her dad say to her mom, why do we have any of these kids? I never wanted any of them. I mean, that's some trauma, right? So that's why as an adult, as a mother and a grandmother, now I don't fault her for the way she raised me, because now we have me talking to you so we can share that we're sisters in this, right? If you have any anxiety, and we have counselors that are more prevalent. And back in the old days, keep it under a lid. We don't have to talk about these things. No, I'm talking about it. And I'm not afraid. I'm not, somebody's going to think I'm a jerk, whatever. I don't care. I'm talking about it. Okay. So that brings me to my next point. So my point there was take action in spite of fear, and there's a sisterhood. And that is why Livy Brin exists. That's why the Unstoppable Life Conference is taking place. That's why Girls Guide to Outrageous Real Estate Success exists. But number 7 is break the generational issue. Break the generational issue. Judy and I are first generation college graduates in our family. I mean, we never assumed that we'd go to college, my older brothers and sisters, but somehow Judy and I did. Why? I don't know. I have no idea. Somehow we just said, I'm going to college. Now, my mom and dad couldn't afford me to go, so that I had to I worked in a factory. I chose to work in a factory for a year and then go to community college and then graduate with my bachelor's. But my point is, you know, no family is perfect. Get that, ladies. No family is perfect. So when you see the cute little family on Facebook, and when you see the woman say, "Happy anniversary, honey," I know of 2 people who said, "Happy anniversary, honey," and within 6 months, they were filing for divorce. And I was like, what? What happened? Oh, the hair. So what happened? What happened was they're faking it, and that's what happened. So that's why, you know, I don't get intimidated and feel, oh, my family sucks because I don't have that. No. And I'm sure there are happy marriages. I'm in a most of the time happy marriage, right? But sometimes not. But breaking the generational issues, meaning you try to understand. There are some people who won't talk to their mother, won't talk to their brother, won't talk to their sister, won't talk to their father, their grandfather, whatever. But ladies, I just wouldn't do it. I had a falling out with my mom once. It was pure hell. And now that she's gone, I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, I wasted like 8 months of my life with her. And it really, I mean, you could say it was her fault because she didn't go to counseling and she didn't do these things. But a person can only do what they can do. They weren't raised that way. They didn't have what we have. Hey, whatever you want to know, you can Google it. Not meaning all the information you're going to find is accurate, because I can find an argument for creationism and against creationism, right? I can find something pro-Republican and anti-Republican, okay? But I'm not saying that everything on the internet's true, but what I'm saying is that we have more options and we have more ways to get information than older generations. So whatever the hell is in your prior generations, don't make it yours. You don't have to inherit that, is my point. There's a ton of people who had it worse than you did and a ton of people who had it better than you did, right? So there is no normal. So that's the normal. All right. Number 8, stop feeling less than. Stop feeling less than. Thinking others are better than you or thinking that others have it better. It's just not true. Right now, I have my laptop elevated about this far. Can you see this? Because at 53, I don't like this. Because if I had it down, then you'd see, you know, it'd be like a not nice view. So even me, I'm making myself look like in the best light. Okay? So you can't compare your worst to somebody's best. Lots of famous people have killed themselves. So they are out in the limelight. They have what seems like life, you know, by the balls. They have life easy. And yet we hear they kill themselves. We don't get it. But that's because the lights and glamour ends. And at night they go home and have to deal with what they haven't dealt with. It's fake. It's fake. Each minute is a gift, is what I know right now. The minute right now, my time with you is a gift. It's a gift to both of us. It's a gift to you and it's a gift to me. Because I'm praying and I'm hoping that it helps you. And it probably helps me to say this as well, right? Number 9, listen to your body. I learned to listen to my body. God made us with a survival instinct. If you Google survival instinct, you'll know what I'm talking about. That's why, that's why, like if you are like drowning, or you are really, really like in a bad car accident, like you're fighting to survive. It's a survival instinct that we have. And so when our bodies have had enough faking, enough crap inside our body that needs to be released, then we have panic attacks, anxiety, some of it debilitating. Number 10, and actually kind of not, it's only 9. I just have number 10 here, but it's not a thing. I learned my way through life and became a top agent with a top team, making hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. Okay? Not bragging. I'm telling you. Okay? How did this Pennsylvania Dutch girl with humble beginnings, like 6 kids, 2 parents, and a dog in probably 1,100 square feet, like really small, really small. How did I go from rags to riches? Well, in spite of the anxiety, in spite of things that happened to me, in spite of all these things, right? Because how did I do it? I wanted it, and I was willing to fight for it. And I thank God for that time from the now Verizon Wireless for sending Brian Tracy there to make me do that exercise, which I have all of my clients do, that make sure that you're living your life in alignment with your values, with what you say is important. I want you to get beyond any anxiety you have, any panic that you have. I want it for you, but you have to want it too. So I do want to be honest and say that I have one remaining. And so I want to say that once you have panic and anxiety, it never leaves 100%. Okay, so just so you know that. I deal with it every day or every other day. It's something that never leaves. This is what my counselor told me, so I'm not speaking out of turn. And I want to caveat all this by saying I'm just sharing what I know. I am no expert, okay? But we have 2 choices to make when you experience anxiety and or panic attacks. We can be succumbed and taken over by it, which I was for a time. My life was hell. I don't even want to talk about it. That's how bad it was. I mean, I'll say this. I was afraid to go to the grocery store and come back. That's agoraphobia. My home was my safe place. What was I afraid would happen? What if I stopped breathing? What if my throat closed? What if? And sometimes I'll be in the grocery store, not often, because I admit I'm not domestic. Although I kind of want to be now. It's kind of weird. But anyway, when I'm in the grocery store, sometimes I'll be like, oh my gosh, I'm having fun at the freaking grocery store. And to some people, you might think that's weird. But you know what, for me, the fact that I can have fun at the grocery store and not feel like I have to run home, that's such a big deal. That is such a big deal. Or like one time I was in Target many years ago, and all the lights went off and I was in the back of the store. It was pitch black dark and I couldn't see my kid, and that was like traumatic. And I'm like calling his name and he wouldn't answer me. Okay, he thought he was being funny. That was traumatic. And back then we didn't have flashlights on our cell phones either, if you're thinking that. Okay, So I would get nervous going to the back of stores. What if that happened again? So stupid. Like as if the boogeyman is going to take my kid or something. I don't know. I'm just being honest. So sometimes I'll be in Target and I'll be like, thank you, God, that I can be in Target and enjoy it and not be scared. You see how, I'm being very vulnerable with you ladies, very vulnerable. Because I remember the hell that it was, and I don't want you to be in it. I don't want anybody to be in it. So you have a choice to take action, because action begets action. And when you're in action and your mind is busy, you can tell the other stuff no. You can tell the other stuff no. What you focus on grows. Like, I'm a Christian. I'm a proud Christian, meaning I'm not going to say that I'm not going to like hide the fact that I'm a Christian for fear that you might hate me because of it. Okay. Because if you don't want to be Christian, hey, that's up to you. I couldn't care less. I mean, I respect your decision to be an agnostic, to be an atheist, to be a Buddhist, to be whatever you want to be. But I'm just telling you about my journey. And for me, I go to the Bible, and I went to the Bible during this time. And it said, as a man thinketh, so is he. Okay, so what you think about is what you become. And then the Bible verse, think on things that are lovely, true, praiseworthy, right? Because what you think about grows. So when you're in the middle of panic, all you're thinking about is the what ifs and oh my gosh, da 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 da, horrible things, right? But what you really need to be doing is switch your gears, and focus on something. For me, I love throwing parties. Anybody that knows me personally has probably been to my house, and I just love like hosting parties, which is why I started a networking event when I was an agent in my town, because I love hosting. Okay, and that's why we're hosting She's Unstoppable Live, because I love hosting. I'm so excited, right? And so when I could get my mind on what my next hosting was, or when I could get my mind on what my next something I was looking forward to, like a family vacation, I like to do that stuff too, plan all that stuff out, then it helped me. And after a while I was like, hey, I didn't think about that stupid anxiety. That's because Satan wants you to be in hell. Satan wants you to be focused on the anxiety so that you don't carry out what God has for you to do. There is a plan. There's a reason you're alive. Just like Rick Warren said, purpose-driven life. You are here for a purpose, ladies. And if you don't know your purpose, then make that your main definite purpose. Make that your main definite purpose, to discover what your main definite purpose is, right? And boy, when you find it, it's amazing. It is amazing. And it's not just one thing either, because you ladies are so important to me that it touched my heart. And I'm like, so many people are coming to me about anxiety when I'm on my strategy calls with you. I'm like, I got to do it. And then equally important, or more so because it's my family, I hope you can understand, are my kids and my grandkids. So I have to keep alignment, which is really hard to do when you're planning an event like She's Unstoppable Live, let me tell you. But I do it. Stop the negative self-talk. Take action instead. And in fact, when you have a negative thought come up, say no out loud. No. Now, the one remaining, I have a few more points on that, but I want to come back to what my remaining anxiety is. I still have a lot of anxiety when I have to drive far distances, or when I have to drive to a place that I'm unfamiliar with. Maybe it's because I'm a control freak, and if I don't know exactly where I'm going, or if I don't know exactly the route I'm taking, I get all worked up. Stupid, right? If that's not your anxiety, you're thinking, big deal, throw it in your GPS and go. I understand. But that is my remaining issue. And so I went to a counselor who was amazing, and she introduced me to tapping. I think it's ETP or ETF. I don't know. But it really helped. And so if you don't know about tapping, then Google tapping, because I don't know what else to tell you. I can't remember. I think it's ETF. Excuse me, EFP, ETF. I'm not good with memorizing things. But Judy was a straight A student, but it really helped. And when you're tapping, what you say is, you say, let me just try to think, because I want to tell you the right thing. The connotation of what you say while you're tapping different areas of your body is that I completely accept myself as I am. And it's just like, even though I feel like I do accept myself as I am, as you're tapping and the different points and you're saying that, it so gets in your subconscious. And it makes a huge difference instantaneously, ladies. So please don't take what I'm saying. Go Google it, okay? There's plenty of videos on it, and you can watch them do it. And so what did I just say? The tapping and what you say are positive, right? It's taking your attention off of the anxiety and putting it where it needs to be, which is on that you are good enough, that you can do this, and that you are worthy, that you are lovable and worthy of love. Because each of you watching me are. If you're not watching me, everybody is. So it's a vicious circle of isolation. And it was amazing because I thank God that my personality, I'm not really an extrovert. Like, I know I talk to you freely and I really like this, but when I'm in a networking event, like, I don't talk small talk. Like, I don't know what to say. I don't want to sound stupid. But I still, in spite of that, never isolated like my mom did. And I think when you isolate, my mother-in-law isolates. And so, you know, she won't talk to us. Like I said, I see her often, but like once a week, right? And it's like, when I see her, she's like, oh, you know, this and that. And then when she's done being with my husband and me at dinner, she's all happy. I said, Mom, get the heck out. Stop isolating yourself. And even like, again, I'm bringing it back to what helped me, the Bible. You know, it says that we were made to be in communion with others. We're made to be in community with others, right? And so, and I think other religions say that too. We're not supposed to be isolated. So if you find yourself isolating, sitting in your nightie, get out of your nightie, stop working from home, and go to the office. And I don't mean to be mean, but go to the office. Go out and meet people at Panera, the coffee shop. Get out. Talk to people at the grocery store. Talk to people if you're going to the bank to deposit your husband's check or your check. Go talk to the bank teller, okay? Chit chat. It helps you. It's a vicious circle of isolating. No, you got to stop it. Action begets action. Action begets action. When I'm working with a client, whether it's one-on-one or in group coaching, they get back to me and they say, thank you for making me do certain things. It's not even like I'm asking them to do crazy stuff, but that little bit of action gets like a wheel. It's like, oh my gosh, now you're continuing. How long am I going here? Okay, I got to go. This is way too long. Sorry, ladies. Help someone else. Help someone else. Helping someone else is a great way to get yourself out of anxiety. It's you taking responsibility for yourself, stopping the pity party, stopping the news. Turn off the news. Turn off the news. My gosh, turn off the news. Taking responsibility for your own healing. There's a book called Healing is a Choice. Healing is a Choice. Highly, highly recommend you get this book called Healing is a Choice. Stephen Arterburn that was huge. Get that book, ladies. Healing is a Choice. It's amazing. Get moving. Look, I'm no big exercise lady, but why not like take a walk? Spring is coming. I think we're 19 days away from spring. Get outside. Get outside. Or walk in the house. I don't know. Go into the mall, walk around. It was so cute. When I worked retail when I was younger, the older ladies and men would come to the mall and just walk around. They were so cute. And I think that's really good to get exercise and get out, yoga, get moving. A gratitude journal. Man, do I love gratitude journal. I love it. Being thankful for what you have instead of focusing on what you don't have. That's actually a business principle that I teach my coaching students or my coaching clients too. When you focus on where you're going, you're probably going to get there. When you focus on why you're not there or all the excuses, you're probably going to stay there, right? So it's really up to you. The mind can do so many things. The mind can take you so many places that you never dreamed of going, ladies. You just have to get your mind working for you instead of against you. All this time, it's been working against you. We're done with that, right? If you're done with that, say, yes, we're done with that. Write it in the comments. Yes, we are done with that. We are done with that. Yes, we are done with that. All right, next is faith, affirmations. Okay, if you're my client, you know that I want you to do what I do, and that is record positive present tense, 5 to 7 sentences on your phone, and then listen to it right when you open your eyes in the morning and last thing before you shut your eyes at night. Why? Because then it's going to set you up to have an amazing day and an amazing night's sleep, and that allows your subconscious mind to be working on that goodness all day long, man. Working on that goodness all day long and all night while you're sleeping. Oh my gosh, how amazing. Do something new. Today is day 1. You're going to do something new. I'm going to leave you with this. Maybe my anxiety was a gift. And I often think about this, right? My older sister said to me that when I first had my daughter, I was rough. I was cold and like I didn't feel like I was that way, but I was abrupt and all these kind of things. And she said one day after you had the panic attacks and you were working through it, and now Emily was like 5 or 6 because she was 2.5 when all that hell started. She said that I couldn't believe we were taking a walk, she and I and Emily, my daughter, and she said, you turned to me, Jan, and you said, look how pretty that flower is. And she said, Jan, I almost cried because you never would say that. You would never, ever have said that before. And I'm like, oh my gosh, who knew what I would have been missing out on if I wouldn't have had anxiety? Because it made me look at myself, take responsibility, and move forward in a powerfully positive way. So maybe my anxiety was a gift to me. Because how much of an impact did it make on me that I have been able to help others? Because through my whole adult life since then, I've been in either a leadership role in corporate, or in real estate when I had my networking event, or now as a coach with you ladies. How many women tell me, oh my gosh, thank you. Thank you for being you. And I wouldn't be the me that you're seeing now without having gone through the anxiety. And I want to continue it. Our bodies are amazing, ladies, and we need to really listen to that. And Debbie says it was a gift. Everything happens for a reason. That's exactly right. So I want to ask you, what is your anxiety teaching you? What is your anxiety teaching you? And ladies, I want to leave you with this. I really want you to hear me on this. I don't begrudge the other real estate coaches who are men. I don't. Or even the other ladies who don't focus just on ladies. They focus on any real estate agent, right? I'm not going to say anything bad about them because different strokes for different folks, right? Some people don't like the way my style is. Great. Then you're going to hire one of them, right? But this is what I know. I know that when you attend She's Unstoppable Live, you're never going to feel like an outcast. You are never going to feel like that. You are never going to feel like, oh, I wish I wouldn't have come. You're never going to feel like, damn, I don't know anybody. I feel like an outcast. I'm not important. I don't belong here. Because Judy and I and the team are working on making sure that your experience, your personal experience at She's Unstoppable Live is one that you've never experienced before, full of love, sisterhood, empowerment, uplifting. And let me tell you this, if some lady is causing drama, that lady will be gone. And that's how I used to handle my networking event in my former town when I had it. One time a photographer came up to another photographer who happened to be my friend who was really shy and said, you know, what are you doing here or something? And my friend came up to me and she goes, oh my gosh, Jan, I'm going to go. I'm like, why? What happened? And she's like, such and such said, you know, it was like, what the heck am I doing here? And I go, oh no. I go, you're not going, she's going. And I walked up to her and I said, look, you know, did you say such and such to such and such? And she's like, oh, well, I didn't mean it like that. I'm like, look, you know what? Just so you know, this is your warning, and I only give one warning. And some people I don't give any warning. You know, life is hard enough. And when you're here, this is going to be positive, love-filled, sisterhood. We can do it. And I don't want any of that. And I gave her a hug. And I said to my friend, the shy person, I said, come over here. And I made him hug. Okay? Because that's my authentic self. Whether that lady wanted to hug her or not, but guess what? She never acted that way again. She was acting like she was superior to my friend who was a photographer. Okay? So this is how seriously I take your feelings. And you might have been like, okay, well, I know it's going to be amazing. Oh my gosh, I'd love to meet Tracy Tudor. Oh my gosh, this Dottie Herman, self-made woman, blah, blah, blah. But I'm not good enough. You are good enough. And let me tell you this. You never know what connection you are going to make today in your market. You never know, but you won't know if you stay at home, right? So get out. But you never know what connection you're going to make at that She's Unstoppable Live conference that could catapult your career in a whole different direction. Up, like in a big way. You just never know. So I just want to leave you with that to really think about and get booked to She's Unstoppable Live. Hi, everyone who just joined. Okay, so let's see. I get the need for information. It's how I help myself do. How old you were when you truly found your purpose? Ooh. Carrie. It's always evolving, like finding your purpose. Like for me, I would just pray and know that God was going to reveal to me what my purpose was. And then whatever I was doing at the time, I would give it my all. So in other words, did I always think I was going to be a real estate coach for women? No. Do I think that's where I'm supposed to be now? Absolutely. Absolutely. But I think we put too much pressure on ourselves to have to know what we're supposed to be doing. No, it's a process. Because when I had my real estate company, and I didn't own the brokerage, but when I had my LLC and I had a team, that was definitely where I needed to be. And then when I got the news of grandbaby coming, I'm like, that's not in alignment with my values. I never had a grandparent, so I don't want to be 3 hours away from my grandkids. I want to be a part of their lives. So I had to rethink, what should I do now? So, Carrie, my question to that, or my answer to that would be to really think about what you want, pray about it, and then where you are, excel. And don't keep questioning it. Because when we're in a sense of question or doubt, that's the problem. Okay, so I just want to make sure. Okay, so I think that's it, ladies, for now. Why don't you end this call? Thank you for sticking with me. With just tell me something that you got out of this call. It could be about how it's all about love. It's all about, that you're worthy, that there's nothing positive with thinking negative. And being negative and thinking negative is a habit that you learned. I learned it from my mom. She learned it because of the hell she went through and with her mom, who probably learned it from her mom, right? That's why I said, let's break it. Whatever it was that you learned, I'd love to, put it down here and or you can just say goodbye. Say goodbye. And I love each of you, and I really mean everything that I said today, as you saw with my ugly cry face. And anyway, make it a great day. It's Friday. You have opportunities today. Opportunity is knocking, and I am encouraging you to please, please go out, get dressed, go do something, and go talk to somebody. Action begets action, ladies. All right. Talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.